little slap challenge. SLAP, S-L-A-P, stands for squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups. We are doing at least 40 squats, at least 40 lunges, at least 40 reps of an ab exercise, and at least 40 push-ups a day, every single day, except Sundays for 40 days. And this is day 32. But that does not mean that it is too late to join the challenge. It is never too late to join the challenge. Of course, you don't have to do the challenge if you just want to do today's workout with me. So there are timestamps in the description box down below the video. If you would prefer to just skip straight ahead to the workout, you can go ahead and use the chapter markers to do that. But if you would like to hear a little bit about what the challenge is, how it works, how you can participate, where to begin, and if you would like to see today's exercises briefly demonstrated and explained before we begin, let's go ahead and get into that right now. So first of all, there is a playlist for this challenge. I'm going to link the playlist up here on the iCard. It will also be linked in the description box down below the video, and I'm going to link it at the very end of the video as well, so you cannot miss it. So click on the link and save the playlist. Even if this is the first you're hearing about the challenge, you have no idea what the challenge is, what are you getting yourself into, you don't even know if you want to do the challenge, save the playlist anyway, so that way, when and if you decide you want to participate in the challenge, you have all of the workouts readily available to you, and all you have to do is follow along with the playlist. Now, this is designed as a 40-day challenge. So the challenge is 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of abs, and 40 push-ups a day, every single day except Sundays for 40 days. And the challenge is designed to start on a Wednesday. So when and if you decide you want to participate in the challenge, if you want to go back and start on day one, just make sure that you start with your day one workout on a Wednesday. As long as you start with day one on a Wednesday, then everything will fall into place. It's super easy to follow along, just follow along with the playlist. That being said, if you are the one doing this challenge, then it is your challenge. You do it in whatever way works for you. So if you don't want to go all the way back to day one and you just want to jump in today and start on day 32, I am certainly not going to stop you. I would much rather have you do days 32 through 40 of the challenge with me than none of the challenge. So if you're the one doing it, do it in whatever way works for you. If it's too daunting to commit to a 40-day challenge, or you just don't want to make that type of a commitment, then you can do just the first 20 days of the challenge with me. Or you can do the final 20 days of the challenge with me, or you can do every other day of the challenge with me. If it's too difficult to do 160 reps every single day, then you can commit to doing 80 reps a day, or 40 reps, or 20 reps. It's always better to do something than nothing, so decide to what extent you are capable of participating in the challenge, and then make that commitment. And you have all of the workouts readily available to you. So I will be here also, not only doing the workouts with you, but I will be here to guide you through the challenge. So I promise it's really easy to follow along, and if you need help along the way, you can always ask me for help. If you have questions about the exercises that we're doing on any given day, if you need help with beginner modifications, if anything is unclear at all, you can reach out and ask questions. I am here to guide you through the challenge. I am here to help encourage you and support you along the way. Even if you are just finding out about the challenge and it's months after my challenge is complete, I'm still here. So please ask questions if you have them. But that's the challenge in a nutshell. Now, I share a new workout with you every single day, and the workouts are labeled days 1 through 40, and that is how I do the challenge every year. But you do not have to go in order through the playlist. You don't have to do the day 32 workout on day 32. As long as you're getting your reps done, that's all that matters. So you don't even need to incorporate your reps into a structured workout if you don't want to. So any workout in the whole world that happens to contain at least 40 squats, at least 40 lunges, at least 40 reps of abs, and at least 40 push-ups will work. But you could also make up your own workout, or you could just spread out your reps randomly throughout the course of your day. So for example, you could wake up and first thing in the morning do 10 squats, 10 lunges, 10 reps of any ab exercise you want, 10 push-ups. Any variations of those 4 exercises you want to do is fine. And then you could just repeat that 3 more times throughout your day. So you could do it again after lunch, once more after you get home, once more before bed, and there's your 160 reps. So the challenge is really flexible. I knew I needed to make it flexible in order to make it realistic to stick with it for 40 days. So as long as you're getting your reps done, it doesn't matter how, as long as you are doing them with the correct form. But you don't need to incorporate them into a structured workout. You can spread them out however you want to throughout the course of your day. Now, if you are following along with me this year, this is my 7th year in a row doing the challenge, I've been assuming that if you're following along with this year's playlist, that you are at more of an intermediate level. And by that, I mean that you have access to a few basic pieces of fitness equipment, like at least a set of dumbbells and an exercise mat, let's say. I have still been providing equipment-free substitutions for every single workout, and I will continue to do so for the remainder of the challenge. But I'm also assuming that if you're at more of an intermediate level and you're following along with the workouts I'm sharing this year for the challenge, that you generally know how to do your squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups with the correct form. So I have not been going into as much detail explaining and demonstrating how to do the exercises correctly. And I also have not been going into as much detail providing beginner modifications. So if you're an absolute beginner, this challenge is for you. I promise you can do it, okay? If you are an absolute beginner though, if you are in really terrible shape and you do not own a single piece of fitness equipment and you've never done a workout before a day in your life, I'm going to recommend that you follow along with last year's playlist. Last year was year 6 of the challenge, and I'm going to link that playlist up here in the iCard. It will also be linked in the description box down below the video, and I'm going to link it right on the screen at the very, very end of the video. So if you are a beginner, please click on that link and save the year 6 playlist. And then all I want you to do is start by just watching that day 1 video from last year. You don't have to commit to anything just yet. You don't have to do any squats. You don't have to do a single push-up. Just click on the link, save the playlist from year 6, and start by watching the day 1 video from year 6 of the challenge. In that day 1 video, I explained everything there is to know about the challenge. I explained the origins of the challenge, why I started doing this challenge for myself back in 2020. I talked about all of the different things we are looking to accomplish with this challenge. I also went into tons of details explaining and demonstrating how to do your squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups with the correct form. And I provided tons of beginner modifications that I promise you can do. So please watch that day 1 video from last year. Give me an opportunity to convince you that you can do this challenge. And then again, when and if you are ready to start the challenge, just make sure that you start with that day 1 workout on a Wednesday. So regardless of your fitness level, regardless of which playlist you're following along with, the challenge is always designed as a 40-day challenge. Whether or not you do all 40 days of the challenge is up to you, but the challenge is always 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of abs, and 40 push-ups a day, every single day except Sundays for 40 days. And the challenge is always designed to start on a Wednesday. So just start with your day 1 workout on a Wednesday. And from there, all you have to do is follow along with the playlist. It is so easy to follow along. But again, remember that I will be here to help guide you through the challenge. So even if you're a beginner and you're following along with last year's playlist, you can still comment on those videos. Even if you're doing the workout after if you're doing the challenge after my challenge this year is already completed, I'm still here to help. I will still be here to encourage and support you along the way. I am still here to answer questions. So if you're following along with last year's playlist and you have questions, just comment on the video and I will do everything I can to help. If you are super advanced, if you're in really good shape, you have excellent stamina, you do have access to some basic pieces of fitness equipment, and maybe you have a little bit more time to dedicate to your workouts each day, then you might want to follow along with the year 5 playlist. Year 5 of the challenge, our workouts were much longer and much more difficult. We were frequently doing more than just 160 reps. We were adding weight. We were incorporating cardio into most of the workouts. So if you're really advanced, you can save the playlist from year 5 of the challenge, and I will link that playlist up here in the iCard. It will also be linked in the description box down below the video. and it will be linked on the screen at the very end of the video. So all 3 playlists for this challenge, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, will all be linked in the iCard. All 3 playlists are linked in the description box down below the video, and all 3 playlists are linked on the end screen. So especially if you're advanced, I'm going to recommend that you save all 3 playlists, and that way on any given day of the challenge, you will have a beginner workout, an intermediate workout, and an advanced workout to choose from. So even if you're in great shape and you're capable of doing the tougher, longer workouts that we did in year 5 of the challenge, if there's a day that you're pressed for time, maybe you're traveling, you don't have access to equipment, maybe you're jet lagged, you're not feeling well, and you still want to stick with the challenge, you want to get your 160 reps done, but you just need something that's going to be quicker and maybe a little less strenuous and doesn't require any equipment, you can do the workout from the corresponding day that we did last year, year 6. But remember, you don't have to do the day 32 workout on day 32. So if that's the case, if you are pressed for time or you're tired and you need a short and sweet workout that you can do without exerting yourself too much, then you can choose any of the workouts off of the playlist from year 6 of the challenge. So remember, any of the workouts off of any of these playlists on any given day, and you have met your requirement to participate in the challenge. Literally the only requirement to participate in the challenge is just that you're getting those 160 reps done every day. So any way you want to do them is fine. You can do any of the workouts off of any of these playlists on any given day, and you don't even have to do a workout off of one of these playlists. You can do any workout that meets the requirements, or you can spread out your reps randomly throughout the course of your day. So if you are the one doing it, it is your challenge. You do it in whatever way works for you, but that's basically it. That is how the challenge works. So if any of that is unclear, if you are maybe confused about which playlist you're supposed to be following along with, or you're unsure about what fitness level you're at, if you're having trouble accessing any of the links, I'm always here to help. So please ask questions if you have them. But that is enough about the challenge for today. Let's go ahead and get into the exercises that we are doing for today's workout. So you can see that I have a set of dumbbells here. For reference and for reference only, these are 10-pound dumbbells. That is a good weight for me. That is going to challenge me plenty for today's workout. However, you may need to use something lighter than that. You may need to use something heavier than that. That depends on your strength. It depends on your level of fitness. It also just depends on what you have available to you today, and it depends on how hard you are looking to push yourself today. So please consider all of those factors when choosing your weight and make the decision that is best for you. Also, my dumbbells are hex dumbbells, meaning that they are shaped like a hexagon on the ends, and that means that they are flat on the bottom. This is significant if you are going to be using dumbbells for your push-up variation like I am. I'm going to be doing push-ups on my dumbbells today. So having dumbbells that are flat on the bottom provides me with sufficient stability so that I am able to safely hold onto my dumbbells while in a plank position. I am able to do push-ups while holding onto my dumbbells, and I am able to do plank rows, and my dumbbells are not going to roll around on me. So if your dumbbells are rounded on the ends, I'm going to ask you to modify the push-up variation. It is your workout, and you know your body, you know what you're capable of. I know plenty of people do push-ups on rounded dumbbells, so you have to decide what level of risk you are comfortable taking. You know whether or not you're capable of doing that, but for the record, I'm going to give you a modification for the push-up variation so that you always have at least one hand flat on the floor or the ground, and that is the modification that I would like you to apply if you are using rounded dumbbells, or if you are using household items for weight, like water bottles or shampoo bottles or something like that. So if you don't have dumbbells, I will be providing equipment-free substitutions, but if you want to add weight to the workout, you can always grab a couple of shampoo bottles or water bottles filled with some sort of weight. So you could fill them with water, but you might be able to make them a little bit heavier if you fill them with something like uncooked rice or dried beans or lentils, kitty litter, powdered laundry detergent, or those little decorative pebbles that they sell at like Dollar Tree. They're super cheap. I think that would be a great option. If you're taking your workout to the beach or the park or the hiking trail today, maybe you could fill them with sand or dirt or something like that. You probably could even find a couple of heavy rocks that could work. So just get creative and use what's available to you, as long as you can find something that you are able to maintain a secure grip on, so that you're not going to drop it and injure yourself or break something and make a mess. And as long as it's not too heavy for you, then pretty much anything can work for weight. The only other thing I'm using besides my dumbbells is just an exercise mat. So you're going to want something soft beneath you for our ab exercise, and also if you do push-ups from your knees, you'll want something soft beneath your knees. So an exercise mat or a yoga mat is ideal if you have one, but if you don't have a mat, a towel should suffice. And if you're working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you may not need anything at all. You could probably also just use like a throw pillow or a seat cushion, but you will be more comfortable with something soft beneath you. But that's it. That's all you're going to need to follow along with this workout. So let's go ahead and get into the exercises themselves. I will go ahead and show you my squat variation first. I'm doing goblet squats, and that basically just means that I'm holding a weight in front of me. So you can hold anything you want in front of you. I'm going to be holding both of my dumbbells together, so I'm adding 20 pounds of weight to this exercise. If that's too heavy for you, you can hold on to one of your weights. You could also hold on to a kettlebell or a medicine ball or a household item. So again, you could hold a couple of shampoo bottles or water bottles. You could also hold on to like a big jug of laundry detergent, or one of those big heavy like 2.5 gallon tubs of water. So anything you want to use for weight is fine, but you're just doing a squat while holding a weight in front of your chest. That's basically a goblet squat. I frequently like to do this exercise hugging my sandbag to my chest, so that's another great option. But if you don't have weight, or you just don't want to add weight to the workout, that's fine. Any squat variation you want to do is fine. Remember, you can still follow along with the workout, but if there's one exercise that I'm doing that's not going to work for you because you don't have that piece of equipment, or it's just too difficult, or you just don't like it, for whatever reason, you can always still do this workout with me, work out along with the video, but just swap out that one exercise with a different variation. So if you don't want to do goblet squats, you can still follow along with the video, and while I'm doing my goblet squats, you can be doing any other squat variation you want, and that goes for lunges, that goes for abs, that goes for push-ups. So any squat variation you want to do is fine, just make sure you're minding your form on the squats. So first of all, tuck your shoulder blades into your back pockets so that your shoulders are back and down, chest is lifted high, make sure your abs are super strong and tight and engaged. And you know, before I squat down, I like to think of this as a hip hinge first. So pushing the booty back like you're trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty. At the same time, remember, those shoulder blades are tucked into the back pockets. Shoulders are back and down, chest is lifted high. So think about trying to touch the wall in front of you with your chest so that your spine is elongated. You want your back to stay flat, and you want all of the weight in your heels. Do you see I can actually pick up my toes? And from here is where you can sink down into your squat. Then you're pressing your heels into the ground to stand. So that's just a basic air squat, but those principles are going to apply to any squat variation you choose. So just remember, flat back, weight in the heels. I'm basically just going to be doing an air squat, but I'm going to be holding my dumbbells in front of me. So again, if holding both of your dumbbells together is too heavy, you can hold on to one dumbbell like this. I am going to be holding onto both of my dumbbells, and I'm just doing my squats while holding my dumbbells in front of my chest. Super simple. We are simplifying most of the exercises today because lately we've been doing a lot of compound movements. A lot of the exercises have had multiple elements combined. So we're doing espressos today for our push-ups. We'll get to that in a minute, but that's the only compound movement. For the squats, the lunges, and the abs, I wanted to keep it a little bit simpler today, just for a nice change of pace. So that is my squat variation. You do any squat variation you want. Now, if you are an absolute beginner, you can do the equipment-free versions of the exercises that I'm showing you today, and I actually think that today that is going to be a better option for you if you're a beginner. The workout that we did last year for day 32 was not just this workout, but without the added weights or with beginner modifications applied to these exercises. It was a completely different workout. It bears absolutely no resemblance to this workout. The thing is, it was a wall workout, and I didn't feel like setting up over here against my wall. So if you are an absolute beginner, I'm actually going to recommend that you follow along with the workout we're doing today, because again, like I said, the exercises are very simple. So if you have something you want to hold on to, a water bottle or something, you could do goblet squats, just holding a water bottle or a shampoo bottle the way I was holding my dumbbell. But again, you can also do squats without any added weight, and that's fine. But last year, instead of squats, we were doing wall sits. I was kind of taking a lot of liberties last year. We weren't really doing squats or lunges for that matter. But if you want to check out that workout, it was a great workout. I will link it up here in the iCard, and it will also be linked in the description box down below the video. So you can check out last year's day 32 workout if you want something completely different. You will not need any equipment, but you will need to set yourself up next to a wall. But I just didn't want to do that workout again this year. I wanted to go back to what had traditionally been the day 32 workout. So that is what we're doing today. So moving on to lunges, again, super simple. We're doing static lunges. And as the name would imply, we are just going to be standing still. We're static, okay? We're not moving, we're not walking, we're not jumping, super simple. So starting with your feet about shoulder width apart, you're going to step 1 foot back, bend both knees, and come down into your lunge. Now, if you're able to tap your back knee to the ground and you want to, that's great, but make sure the movement is under control. I don't want you banging your knee into the ground. The movement should be under control regardless, but I just don't want anyone getting hurt. You're going for about a 90-degree angle in your front knee, so that means you want this front knee more or less over the heel of your front foot as opposed to being out over the toes. And then all you're going to do is straighten your legs. Your feet stay right where they are. Static lunges. So literally all you're doing is bending your knees, coming down into your lunge, and then straightening the legs. That's 1 rep. Lunge, straighten the legs. That's 2, 3, 4. So if you are doing the exercise without any added weight, that's all you'll do. If you're an absolute beginner, feel free to shorten up your range of motion. You can hold on to something for support. Just mind your form. So again, make sure your shoulder blades are tucked into your back pockets. Keep that chest lifted high. Shoulders are back and down. Make sure your abs are super strong and tight and engaged. And make sure you're keeping the weight in this heel. So knee tracking over the heel of your front foot as opposed to being out over the toes. All I'm going to be doing is holding on to my dumbbells while I do that. Sometimes I add a hammer curl, overhead press. You can add an upper body component if you want. But again, I just wanted to keep it nice and simple today. I felt like that's what we all maybe needed today. I don't know, maybe you don't need that. You don't have to. You can add whatever you want. But I'm just going to be doing my lunges like this. Simply holding my weights to my side. Super simple. Okay, so that is my lunge variation. Now, moving on to abs. So I'm doing these kind of figure 8 abs. I think traditionally on this day, there's a couple of exercises that I've done, but I think it usually incorporates this exercise in some way. So for this, I'm just using 1 dumbbell, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to be in a seated position down here on my mat, and I'm going to lift 1 knee at a time, and I'm just going to make figure 8s with my dumbbell. So I'm going to start with the dumbbell in 1 hand. I'm going to lift the opposite knee, and then I'm going to pass the dumbbell underneath this knee, grab a hold of it with my other hand, and then I'm going to straighten this leg, bend the other knee, and then again pass the dumbbell underneath this knee so that I just made a figure 8 through my legs with the dumbbell. And that's it. It's super simple, okay? So that's 1 figure 8. So every time the dumbbell ends up back in this hand is 1 rep. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, like that. So each figure 8 is 1 rep. It is a little bit challenging, maybe for beginners. So obviously the lighter your weight, the easier it will be. It's also going to be easier if you count each pass of the dumbbell as 1 rep. So if you're a beginner, I'll let you do that if you want. That is up to you. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, so that each figure 8 is actually 2 reps. That's up to you. That's not the way I'm going to be counting them, but that is up to you. Now, if it is too difficult to, if you lack coordination or you're a beginner, that's just too difficult, then again, you can substitute with any ab exercise you want. So any push-up or any like sit-up variation or crunch variation. So if you want to do something similar to this and you're an absolute beginner, you could maybe have your heels on the mat, hands on the mat for support, and just lift one leg at a time. Or you could maybe clap your hands underneath the leg. Okay, something like that will work. But again, it really can be any ab exercise you want with or without weight. All right, so last but not least is push-ups. I am doing what I call espressos. Shout out to my friend Sarah. And shout out to Sarah, I almost made it through the whole challenge without giving Sarah a shout out. Every year when I do this challenge, I have to give her a shout out because this whole concept of the slap workout, I completely stole it from her. So my friend Sarah is amazing. She just does all the things. She is a wife and a mother and a homeowner and a business owner. She is a fitness coach and she's an artist. She makes incredible artwork. She bakes cakes, like these professional, like $1,000 looking cakes. She's absolutely amazing. You name it, she does it. She's a fur mama. She has human babies, everything, all the things. So years and years ago when I started following her on YouTube, she introduced me to this concept of the slap workout, and I love it. It's what it's meant to be is that on any given day when you just kind of can't think of a workout to do, just do a slap workout. Pick any squat variation, any lunge variation, pick an ab exercise, pick a push-up variation, and just mash them up however you want. And I just think it is such a great idea. So I do slap workouts very frequently, and I've been doing this slap challenge for every year now since 2020. So this is my 7th year in a row doing the slap challenge. So thank you to Sarah for introducing me to the concept of slap workouts. And thank you, Sarah, for showing me how to do espressos. So that's what Sarah called them, so that's what I call them. They're basically man makers, but I don't like the name man maker, and these are a little bit different. So we're going with espressos, but if you know what a man maker is and you want to just do that, just do man makers, it's fine. But really, any burpee variation you want to do is fine. And in year 1 of the challenge, we just did renegade row push-ups. So you can eliminate the second half of the exercise and just do a push-up on the dumbbells and then row the weights one at a time. So renegade row push-ups is a great option. I considered doing that today because like I said, we want things nice and simple today, but I thought one exercise that's a little spicy is fine. So here's what an espresso is. This is what it looks like. I'll show you everything put together and then we'll break it down and I'll show you some modifications. But it's basically a burpee variation. So if you're equipment free, do any burpee variation you want, as long as your burpee variation contains a push-up and as long as you're minding your form on the push-up, okay? But I am doing an espresso, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to start holding my weights to my sides. Now I'm going to bend down and place the weights on the ground in front of me. I'm going to jump my feet back so that I'm in a plank pose, holding onto my weights. And now I'm going to do a push-up, holding onto the dumbbells. And now 2 plank rows, 1 on each side. So row the weight, row the weight. Now I'm going to jump my feet back in and stand, bring the dumbbells with me. Now I'm doing a hammer curl and an overhead press. Then the weights come back down to my shoulders, straighten the elbows, return to the starting position, and that's 1 rep. So weights down, jumper step the feet back, push up, row, row, jumper step the feet in, stand, hammer curl, overhead press. That is an espresso. Okay, so minding your form on the push-up, making sure that your body is in one perfectly straight line from your heels to your shoulders. So make sure that your head is in line with your spine if you imagine that you're standing with your back up against the wall and just gently pressing the back of your head into the wall. That is where you want your head to be, and that's where you want your head to stay. So make sure that you are not bobbing your head up and down while you're doing your push-ups, and make sure that your back stays flat, so don't allow your hips or your belly to droop down towards the ground. Make sure your abs are super strong and tight and engaged. Make sure you're using your ab muscles to lift your hips high and keep them lifted high. All right, so if your dumbbells are rounded on the ends, then I am going to ask you to modify this exercise thusly. So you can start by holding your rounded dumbbells, or if you're using household items for weight, like shampoo bottles or water bottles, or if you took your workout to the beach or the park or the hiking trail and you're holding onto rocks, here's what I'd like you to do. Start by holding your weights to your side, then bend down, put your weights on the ground in front of you and let go. Put them a little bit farther apart than shoulder width, because then what you're going to do is place your hands flat on the floor of the ground inside your dumbbells. Jump or step your feet back and do your push-up with your hands flat on the floor of the ground. Then you're going to do your 2 plank rows, but as you pick up one dumbbell to row it up towards your shoulder, you're keeping the other hand flat on the floor of the ground. Then you're going to put this weight down and let go. Put this hand flat on the floor of the ground, and then you can repeat your plank row on the opposite side. Put the dumbbell down, let go of it. Both hands flat on the floor of the ground. Now jump or step your feet in, and from here it's the same thing. You can pick up your weights as you stand, do your hammer curl, and then do your overhead press, okay? So that is the modification I would like you to apply if your dumbbells are rounded on the ends, or if you are using household items or like rocks for weight or something like that. So a couple of things, mind your form in the push-up, we went over that. The plank rows, do your best to make sure that you're not rocking from side to side. It's inevitable that you're going to rock a little bit, especially as you fatigue, but you're shifting your weight from one side to the other. So don't beat yourself up about it. But what you want to be cognizant of is that it's not this. You're not trying to open up your hips. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to hurt yourself if you do that. It's just a different exercise. It's not what we're doing. So what you want to try your best to do as we're doing these plank rows is to keep your torso, keep your chest and keep your hips pointed straight towards the ground as much as possible. So that as you pick up one weight and row it to your side, you're bending your elbow and rowing the weight up towards your shoulder on the same side, but you're doing your best to not allow your hips to open up to the side. You want to try to keep your hips pointed straight at the ground as much as possible as you row the weight, okay? So do your best. And then for the hammer curl, all that means is that a curl just means that you're bending your elbow and bringing the weight up towards your shoulder. So a hammer curl means that your palms are facing each other. So if you think of the way you would swing a hammer, that's the grip you have on your dumbbells. And then you're going to keep that grip on your dumbbells as you do your overhead press. So the entire time your palms are facing each other. So palms facing each other as you curl the weights up, palms facing each other as you press the weight up overhead and bring the weight back down, okay? So your palms are always facing each other for the entire duration of the exercise. But that's it. That is an espresso. All right, so that's the only exercise today that is kind of involved. It has a lot of moving parts. So again, if it's too complicated, you can do any push-up variation you want. You don't have to use dumbbells. You don't have to stand and do a hammer curl or an overhead press. You can just do renegade row push-ups. You can do a burpee variation or just any other push-up variation you want to do, okay? Just make sure you're minding your form. But I'm going to be doing espressos. So here's the format. I'm going to start with 10 espressos. Then I'm going to move on to my goblet squats, and I'm going to do all 40 goblet squats. It's going to be super tough, so do your best. Remember, you can pause and rest as needed, but I'm going to complete all 40 squats before moving on. So then before I move on to my lunges, I'm going to sneak in another set of 10 espressos. Then I'm going to do my lunges. Now you can do 20 reps on each leg for a total of 40 lunges. If you want to increase the difficulty a little bit, you can do a total of 40 reps on each leg. I'm going to do a total of 40 reps on each leg, just because this year we're in our mama bear era. Mama bears are tough. All of the exercises today are super simple, so I just want to increase the difficulty a little bit. I'm not adding an upper body component or anything like that, so I'm going to do 40 reps on each leg, but you can absolutely just do 20 lunges on each leg, so that by the end of the workout, you will have completed a total of 40 lunges. That is your call. Then before we move on to abs, we will do another set of 10 espressos. Then we will finish up with 40 reps of our ab exercise. So for me, that's my figure eights. I'm counting each full figure eight as 1 rep. Remember, you can count them halfway. You can count each transfer of the dumbbell as 1 rep if you want. Okay, You can put your heels down, make whatever changes and modifications you need to make it work for you. I know I invited you to follow along with me today if you're a beginner, so please remember to apply beginner modifications as needed. And if you need help with beginner modifications, ask, I'm right here. Okay, but we're going to do all 40 reps of abs, whatever ab exercise you're doing, single counted or double counted, with or without weight, 40 reps of abs. And then we'll just finish up with our final 10 push-ups. So for me, that's going to be 10 more espressos, and that's it. That's the workout. So it's actually a super simple format. It's 10 push-ups, 40 squats, 10 push-ups, 40 lunges, 10 push-ups, 40 reps of abs, and 10 push-ups, okay? So please remember that I do always take the time to type out the instructions in the description box down below the video. And of course, I'm going to do the entire workout right along with you, so watch me do it. Read the instructions, but then of course, as always, if anything is unclear with the format of the workout and how everything fits together, if you have questions about any of the exercises that we were doing today, if you have any doubts about how to do the exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with equipment-free substitutions beyond what I have already provided, if you need help with beginner modifications, I am always here to help, so please ask questions if you have them. It is incredibly important that you understand how to do the exercises with the correct form before you begin the workout, so that you reduce your risk of injury, and also just so that you make sure that you're getting the maximum benefit out of each exercise. And hopefully you guys know that it is also incredibly important to me that all of my workouts are always accessible to anyone and everyone who wants to do them with me. So I am always here to help facilitate that. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if you need help. I also want to remind you, especially if you are going to be working out along with the video, to please make sure that you're going at your own pace and minding your form. Do not sacrifice your form for speed. If you're in really great shape, first of all, you might want to follow along with the Year 5 workout. That one was a killer. So long and so tough. But if you're in really great shape and you want to stay here and follow along with this workout with me today, fantastic. You'll probably be a lot faster than I am, and that's wonderful. If you're faster than I am, be faster than I am, as long as you are not losing anything off of your form to get there. If you are racing to stay ahead of me, either because you are competing with me, you want to beat my score, or because you have set a really ambitious time goal for yourself that you're chasing and your form starts to get sloppy, that means you need to slow down. It is always going to be safer and more effective to slow down and do your reps with good form than it is to race through and allow your form to get sloppy. I'm not discouraging you from competing with me. If you want to compete with me, great. Just make sure that you're minding your form. And if you are slower than I am, also great, because you would not even know that you're slower than I am unless you got your little booty dressed and you got out here and you were doing these reps with me today. So if you are slower than I am, be slower than I am. Do not race to keep up with me at the expense of your form. If you're racing to keep up with me and your form starts to get sloppy, you need to slow down. If you fall behind, either because you are just working at a slower pace than I am, or because you're finding that you're needing longer rest breaks than what I'm taking, or you're needing rest breaks where I'm not taking them, that's fine. Just pause the video. I'm not going anywhere. You come back when you're ready and we'll get back into it together. Now, I do want you to challenge yourself to keep your rest breaks as short as you can, but they should be as long as you need. You should only resume the workout once you feel that you have regained enough strength and you have enough stamina so that you can continue with good form. So please make sure that you are being smart, be safe, use your common sense, listen to your body, make sure you are going at your own pace, and make sure you are minding your form. Never sacrifice your form for speed. Make sure that you are working to your own level. So that means going at your own pace. Of course, it also means choosing a set of dumbbells or a kettlebell or household items that are an appropriate weight for you, nothing too heavy. It means that if holding on to additional weight becomes too taxing at any point, you mean that you put the weight down and switch to the body weight versions of the exercise that I showed you. It may mean putting your knees down for the push-ups. It may mean holding on to something for support or shortening up your range of motion for your lunges or your squats. Make whatever changes and modifications you need to in order to make it work for you, but please make sure that you are working to your own level, so do not push your body into doing anything that it is not ready to do. Again, please just be smart and be safe. Use your common sense. Listen to your body. Make the decision that is best for you and just do your best. Please remember that your best is always good enough. So let your best be good enough. Hopefully I have covered everything. If you are ready to go ahead and begin the workout, gather whatever equipment you need. So for me, that's just an exercise mat and a set of dumbbells. So if you have a set of dumbbells, fantastic. Get them ready. If you don't have dumbbells, look for household items that will work, like maybe a couple of water bottles or shampoo bottles filled with some sort of weight. If you have nothing at all that's going to work for weight, or you just don't want to add weight to the workout, that's fine. You have your equipment-free substitutions, but you will be more comfortable with something soft beneath you for our ab exercise, or if you do push-ups from your knees. So again, an exercise mat or a yoga mat is ideal, but if you don't have a mat, a towel may suffice. If you're working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you may not need anything at all. And you may also be able to use something like a throw pillow or a seat cushion or something like that. Pause the video, go get dressed. Meet me right back here. We are going to start with a quick little 5-minute warm up, and then we will get right into our day 32 reps. So as soon as you're ready, let's get started with our 5-minute warm-up. You're going to begin by just allowing your head to fall towards one shoulder. Place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. So make sure that you're not actually pulling your ear down towards your shoulder. You're just allowing gravity to do all the work of gently stretching the opposite side of your neck by just using the weight of your arm to do so. So make sure your arm is completely relaxed. Now you're going to allow your head to fall towards the opposite shoulder. Place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. Your arm is relaxed. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed as well. They should be down away from your ears. Next, we're going to do some head rolls. So you're going to begin by allowing your chin to fall first towards your chest and then towards the opposite shoulder and back. And each time you roll your head from one shoulder to the other, just start feeling your head getting heavier and heavier, allowing your range of motion to increase until eventually your entire torso is just kind of spilling in front of you. Your arms are nice and loose like a rag doll. Now we're going to do some shoulder rolls. So you can roll your shoulders towards the back or towards the front, it doesn't matter. But you really want to explore your full range of motion here. So think about making big circles with your shoulders, kind of exaggerate the movement. Next, we're going to do arm circles, but we're going to start small with our arm circles. So you're going to begin by extending your arms straight out to the sides, and now make small circles either towards the back or towards the front, it doesn't matter. But gradually, as the interval progresses, you're going to start making your circles bigger and bigger until finally you're making the circles as big as you possibly can. Really explore your full range of motion. Now step your feet out so that they're a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Bend your knees and sweep your arms in front of you, and as you straighten your legs, you're reaching up as high as you can. Each time you bend your knees, allowing your range of motion to increase, sinking deeper and deeper into that squat. Now keep your feet planted right where they are. Again, they should be a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. We're just going to lunge side to side, nice and easy. And now add the arms. So now with each lunge, you're just reaching your arm across your body. It's like you're trying to throw your arm across the room. Next, we're just going to march in place. So you're going to step your feet in and march. Keeping your knees low to start, but gradually as the interval progresses, you're going to start driving your knees up higher and higher towards your chest, until finally you're driving your knees up as high as you can. Really get them out there. Feel a nice little stretch in your glutes. Now we're going to jog in place. Same thing, knees are low to start. But as the interval progresses, you're going to gradually start driving your knees up higher and higher towards your chest, until finally you're driving your knees up as high as you possibly can. Next is booty kicks. So keep jogging, but now with each step, you're bringing your foot behind you. Don't be lazy. Really try to kick yourself in the booty cheek with your heel. For this next one, if you struggle with balance, you can hold onto the wall or a chair for support. If not, hands on the hips is fine. You're going to transfer your weight into one foot, pick up the other foot, and just swing the leg front and back. Nice and loose. We're just waking up the hip flexors. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you put this foot down, transfer your weight again, pick up the opposite foot, and just swing the leg front and back. You can start low, but as the interval progresses, if you want, you can start expanding your range of motion if it feels comfortable. Swinging that leg higher and higher. You're going to transfer your weight again, so put this foot down, pick up the opposite foot, extend the leg out in front of you, and then bring the leg around and behind you. And each time you make this semicircle, you're lifting your leg higher and higher. And now for the last two, we're going to do a hip circle. So drive the knee up towards your chest and use your hand to guide it around. Other leg, extend the opposite leg out in front. Bring the leg around and behind, making a semicircle with your leg. Lifting the leg higher and higher each time, and now two hip circles. Drive the knee up towards your chest. Use your hand to guide it around, finishing with a hamstring stretch. Feet wide apart, hinge at the hips, and forward fold. Keep your back as flat as you can so that you isolate your hamstrings more effectively. You're not going to hurt yourself if you allow your back to round, but we're here for such a short period of time. You want to maximize the effectiveness of the stretch by keeping your back as flat as possible. So that might be a little bit easier if you use the wall or a chair or the arm of your couch for support. It might make the stretch a little bit more comfortable. Might make it easier to keep your back flat, and it can make the stretch a little bit more accessible for you. But that's it. That's our little 5-minute warm up. So let's get right into the workout. We are starting with push-ups, 10 reps. I'm doing espressos. You can do man makers or any push-up variation you want. Here we go. I'm starting my timer in 3, 2, 1, and go. So I'm doing espressos. That means I'm starting holding my weights to my side. I'm going to bend down and put the weights down on the ground in front of me. Jump my feet back. Push up on the dumbbells. Now 2 plank rows, 1 on each side. Jump or step the feet in. Stand, hammer curl, overhead press. That's 1. We're doing 10. That's 10. Those are super tough, I know. And I know it's a lot of moving parts. But remember, our squats, lunges, and abs are gonna be super simple. So when you're ready, we're going to move on to squats. Any squat variation you want to do is fine, but we're doing all 40 squats before moving on. So I'm going to be doing goblet squats. I'm holding onto both of my dumbbells. If that's too heavy, you can hold on to just one dumbbell. Remember, you really can hold anything in front of you for weight. So it can be a kettlebell, medicine ball, sandbag, household item, jug of laundry detergent, water bottle, whatever you've got. All right, if you need another minute to allow your heart rate to come down a little more, if you want your breathing to normalize a little more, and if you need some time to regain some strength and feel like you have enough stamina to start on your squats, pause the video, come back when you're ready. I'm going to go ahead and start on my squats. So 40 goblet squats, holding both weights together in front of my chest as I squat. That's 1. We're going to 40, do your best. So just like that, squats are done. Lunges are going to be just as simple, but before we move on to lunges, we're going to sneak in another 10 espressos, or 10 reps of whatever push-up variation you're doing. Water. Pause the video, come back when you're ready. I'm going to start on my next set of 10 espressos right now. on to lunges. We're doing static lunges. You can add difficulty by adding a jump or a kick. You can add difficulty by holding on to weight. I'm just going to be holding my dumbbells to my side. You can add a curl, you can add an overhead press, you can add a lateral arm raise. You can do whatever you want. I'm just going to be holding my weights to my side, keeping it super simple, but I am going to increase the difficulty by doubling my reps. So I'm going to end up doing a total of 80 lunges on the day, 40 reps on each leg. If you do not want to double your reps of lunges, then you'll do 20 reps on each leg. I'm going to do 40 reps on one leg and then 40 reps on the other leg. It's going to be a burnout. So your other option, if you do want to double your reps, but it's too difficult to do all 40 reps on the same leg at once, you can do 20 on the right, 20 on the left, and then repeat that before we move on. But you don't have to double your reps. As long as you're doing a total of 40 reps on the day, you have met your requirement to participate in the challenge. But I'm doubling my reps, so just holding my dumbbells to my side. Now step one foot back, bend both knees, come down into your lunge, and now straighten the legs, right back down into your next lunge. So that's 2, 3, 4. You can go to 20 or 40, okay? Do your best. That's 20. You can switch legs if you want. I'm going to stay on the same leg for another 20 reps. I won't be able to do another 20 unbroken, but I'll see if I can do my next 10 without stopping. Just do your best. Break them up however you need to. I'm going to get the reps done. That's what matters. So picking up my count at 20. That's 30 for me. Another short rest break, and then I'll finish up with my last 10 on this leg. That's 40. Quiet little hello from my baby boy. After I lost Rudy, my neighbor bought me these wind chimes. And she said whenever I hear them, that's Rudy. So it's a very soft spring breeze. My wind chimes are speaking to me very delicately right now, so that's my baby boy cheering me on. You can do it, mommy. I know, baby. All right, so when you're ready, other leg. So if you do 20 on the first leg, you'll do 20 on this leg, obviously. If you're doubling the reps with me, we're gonna do 40 on this leg. harder control the movement. So since I have my mat here, I'm gonna put it underneath my knees so that I don't worry about hitting my knee into the concrete too hard. All right, picking up my count at 20. So I'll try to do another 10 just like I did on the other leg. First 5 or 6 reps starts to feel like, oh, I can do another 20 unbroken. And then once I get to rep 7, 8, 9, I realize it's not happening. So that's 30 for me. I have to do 10 more. When you're ready, final 10 reps. So I'm picking up my count at 30. And that's 40. So lunges are done. Squats are done. Lunges are done. Push-ups are halfway done. But before we move on to abs, we're going to do another set of 10 espressos, or whatever push-up variation you're doing. Take a longer rest break if you need it. When you're ready, here we go. This is our penultimate set of espressos. Do your best. That's 7. 3 more. Moving on to abs. I'm doing figure 8 abs. And I'm counting each figure 8 as 1 rep, which means that each 1 rep is 2 crunches. So if that's too much for you, you can count each pass of the dumbbell. Each time you pass your dumbbell from one hand to the other as 1 rep. But whether you want to count each half of the figure 8 as 1 rep or each full figure 8 as 1 rep, count however you want, but we're doing 40 reps total. So when you're ready, here we go. Starting with the weight in one hand, Heels elevated the entire time if you can. Crunch one knee in, bring the dumbbell underneath, switch hands, and now other side. So that's one figure eight. One figure eight is one rep, so I'm going to do that 39 more times, okay? So figure eight, each time the dumbbell ends up on this side is one rep, so that's 2, 3, 4. So it's a tough exercise, just do your best. I'm gonna zip it so I can conserve some energy. I'm counting those as my first 4 reps, so I'm picking up my count, 4. So that's 20 figure eights, which means I'm halfway there. I'm pretty sure that in year 1 of the challenge, I did this same ab exercise, but I counted each pass of the dumbbell as 1 rep. But this year, we are in our mama bear era, and mama bears are tough, so we are going to do another 20 reps, double counted. So as soon as you're ready, here we go. Pick up my count at 20. That's 30. Usually when we do abs, I cry because I have the world's weakest abs, but I'm not even paying attention to my abs right now because my arms feel like they're gonna fall off. This 10-pound dumbbell feels like it weighs 50 pounds right now. All right, just 10 more reps. Pick up my count at 30. That's 35. 5 more. That's 40. I know those last 10 reps were not gorgeous, but they count, and they're done. So squats, lunges, and abs are all done. We've completed 30 push-ups. So we just have to do 10 more. So if you need to rest before this final set of espressos, so that you can towel off and get a sip of water, pause the video, come back when you're ready. I'm just gonna shake out the arms a little bit, take a couple more deep breaths, and then I'm going to just get started on these. If I can't do all 10 unbroken, that's fine. I'll do 5 and then take a rest break, or however many I can and then take a rest break. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started on them. So whenever you're ready, here we go. Final 10 espressos, or whatever push-up variation you're doing. That's 5. Just 5 more. I know it's tough, but we're right there. Let's push. And 6. 7. It's 8. Just 2 more. Push. That's 9. Last one. That's it. That's our 40th espresso. So that took me 25 minutes and 12 seconds. I did not set a time goal before beginning this workout, but honestly, I thought I was going to be able to finish a lot faster than that. But it's hot out here today. Those exercises were simple, but they were tough. And we did double the lunges. The espressos are so hard. And we did 40 espressos. You guys, I was pushing myself really hard today, and I feel good about that. Most importantly, I got my reps done. That's what matters. So if you got all 160 reps done with me, thank you, amazing job. If you timed yourself and you feel comfortable doing so, please go ahead and leave me a comment with your score. Let me know how long it took you. My official score for today is 25 minutes and 12 seconds, but we are not quite finished yet. No workout of mine was ever complete, and especially no workout during this challenge is ever complete until we have done our bonus burpee. So we have just 1 rep left to go. The bonus burpee is mandatory. It is part of the workout. The workout is not complete until you have done it. And doing a bonus burpee after every single one of these workouts is part of the challenge. You do not have to include a push-up with your bonus burpee if you don't want to. Any burpee variation is fine, but you must do a bonus burpee. That is what completes the workout. It is the exclamation point at the end of the workout. It's a little celebration that we got these 160 reps done today, and then it's a little pat on the back for sticking with the challenge for yet another day. So as soon as you're ready, let's go ahead and do our bonus burpee together, and then the workout will be officially complete. Here we go. This is our final rep of the day. All right, with that, the workout is now officially complete. So let's just do a quick cool down together. You just want to keep moving while you allow your heart rate to come down and while you allow your breathing to normalize. So you can pace around back and forth, shake out the legs a little bit, shake out the arms. Let's do a shoulder stretch. So bringing one arm across your body, use your other arm to pull it in close to your chest. Make sure that your straight arm is completely relaxed, and make sure that your shoulder is relaxed. If your shoulder is tense and hunched up by your ear, you're not going to be able to stretch it effectively. So Relax the arm, relax the shoulder, and make sure that you're continuing to move while we do this stretching. So I'm just kind of shaking up my legs, but again, if your heart rate is still really elevated, if you're breathing really heavily, it might feel better to pace, but you can really even just shift your weight from foot to foot. You just want to kind of keep the circulation going. So shake out the arms. Let's get the other shoulder, bringing the opposite arm across your body and using your other arm to pull it in close to your chest. Your straight arm is completely relaxed. Your shoulders are relaxed. They should be down away from your ears. Feel that nice stretch in your shoulder. Keep moving and keep focusing on slowing down your breathing. So you do that by really feeling your diaphragm being pulled down as you inhale. Think about breathing all the way down to your belly button. So as you inhale, I want you to feel your rib cage physically expand, and I want you to visualize filling up your entire torso with air. So breathe all the way down to your belly button. Feel your diaphragm being pulled down, fill up your entire torso with air, and then use your diaphragm to control the air as you exhale. Let's do a tricep stretch next. So bending one elbow, place your hand on the elbow and gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder, making sure that the fingers on your free hand are pointing straight down at the ground. You want to avoid having this free hand hanging out up here somewhere by your shoulder. So point the fingers straight down at the ground as you gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder. Feel that really nice stretch in your triceps. Keep moving. So again, you can pace. You can shake out the legs. You can see at this point I'm just kind of shifting my weight from foot to foot. Just keep moving and keep focusing on slowing down your breathing. Let's get the other arm. So bend your other elbow, place your hand on the elbow, and then pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder, making sure that the fingers on your free hand are pointing straight down at the ground. Feel that nice stretch in your triceps. Keep moving and keep focusing on your breathing. So let's take a couple more nice deep breaths here. Feel your diaphragm being pulled down as you inhale all the way down to your belly button, allowing your rib cage to expand, filling up your entire torso with air, and then using your diaphragm to control the air slowly as you exhale. One more. Breathe all the way down to your belly button. Control the exhale and come out. We're going to finish with a quad stretch. So if you struggle with balance, you can hold on to the wall for support or any other strong, sturdy, stable, elevated surface like maybe your kitchen counter, your dining room table, the arm of your couch. So you're going to bend one knee, bring the foot behind you, reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with the hand that is on the same side if you're holding on to something for support. If you're not holding on to anything for support, you can reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with both hands and then press your heel into your booty cheek. Really press it in there, and as you do that, you're tilting your pelvis forward. So think about kind of tucking your booty underneath you, trying to touch your spine with your belly button. And as you do that, as you tilt your pelvis forward, make sure you're continuing to really press your heel into your booty cheek. As soon as you combine both of those two elements, you're going to feel that stretch intensify in your quad muscles, but I also want you to feel that stretch extend all the way up to your hip flexors. So coming out, shake out the legs. Let's get the other leg. So bending your other knee, bring the foot behind you, reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with the hand that's on the same side if you're holding on to something for support. If you are not holding on to anything for support, you can reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with both hands. Press your heel into your booty cheek. And as you are doing that, tilt your pelvis forward. Tuck the booty underneath you, suck that belly button all the way back towards your spine. So as you're tilting your pelvis forward, make sure you're continuing to really press your heel into your booty cheek. And as you're pressing your heel into your booty cheek, make sure you're continuing to tilt your pelvis forward. Do both of those things at the same time so that you really feel that stretch intensify in your quads. Feel the stretch extend all the way up to your hip flexors. One more nice deep breath here, inhaling all the way down to your belly button. Use your diaphragm to control the exhale and come out. And one last time, shake out the legs, shake out the wrists, shake out the arms, swing the arms a little bit, and that's it. That is our little cool down. So if you find that you are still breathing heavily, your heart rate is still elevated, just take a few more minutes to pace around. I am going to move directly onto cardio. So I have Rebecca here with me today. Rebecca is my adorable black jump rope with these cute little white skulls on the handles. If you would like to know where I get my jump ropes, there is a link and a coupon code in the description box down below the video. So click on the link and use coupon code Rebecca to save an additional 10% on your jump rope. I am going to set my interval timer for 10-second rest intervals and 20-second work intervals times 40 rounds. That's 20 minutes. I'm going to get some music going and I'm going to do 20 minutes of interval jump rope. So I am sharing this with you not because it's mandatory, it's not technically part of the challenge, but every year since like year 2 or 3 of the challenge, this is how I do the challenge. After every single workout, I tack on 20 to 30 minutes or more of additional moderate paced cardio. For me, 9 times out of 10, that's 20 minutes of interval jump rope. Sometimes I might go for a jog. If it's a nice day and I have time, maybe I'll go for a nice long hike. So those are all great options, but you could also just hop on the exercise bike or the treadmill or elliptical, Stairmaster if you have something like that, or if you have steps in your home or your apartment complex, up and down the steps is always a great option. Or if you took your workout to the beach or the park or the hiking trail and there's steps there, anywhere there's steps, you can do up and down the steps. So if you have access to the field at your local high school, you can do up and down the bleachers, or you could jog around the track, or some combination of the two. If you have access to a swimming pool, or if you live close to a body of water and weather permits, you can go for a swim. Swimming is phenomenal cardio. Maybe you have a heavy bag, you can work on your heavy bag for, 20, 30 minutes. So the additional cardio, again, it's not mandatory and it's not officially part of the challenge, but if you are using this challenge to try to get yourself in shape, if you want to improve your stamina, maybe you're trying to lose weight, the additional cardio is just going to help to accelerate that process for you. That means that you are going to start to see results faster, and that's really encouraging. If you find it difficult to summon the motivation to stick with the challenge and get your reps done every day, doing the additional cardio can actually really help, because first of all, as you're adding on the additional cardio after as many of the workouts as you can, you're obviously getting stronger and you're improving your stamina. So as that happens, the workouts themselves are going to start to get easier and you're going to start to be able to complete them more quickly. And that means that you are going to struggle less to get the workouts done. So it's going to be easier to find the motivation to do your reps each day if you know that you're not going to be struggling as much and it's not going to take you as long as it did maybe the first week or so of the challenge. But also just being able to see the results of your hard work, being able to see physical evidence that you're getting closer to your goals, maybe your clothes are starting to fit differently. It just shows you that what you're doing is working, and so it makes you want to keep doing what you're doing because it's working. So you don't have to do the additional cardio at all if you don't want to, but you definitely don't have to do it after every single workout. That's how I do the challenge every year, but I know not everybody has time to do 20 or 30 minutes of additional moderate paced cardio after every single one of these workouts. But I strongly recommend that you find at least 2 or 3 days a week, if you can, to tack on the additional cardio. 20 or 30 minutes is great. You can do more if you want to, and it can be anything in the world for cardio. You can even just meet up with a friend in the park and play some tennis or some basketball, or if you can go to a fitness class if that's something you enjoy. It should be something enjoyable so that you actually do it. That's why I play music while I do my jump rope, otherwise it's pretty tedious. But I just really feel like if you can find at least 2 or 3 days a week to do some additional cardio after the workouts, that you're going to be so much happier with your results on day 40 of the challenge, and I really want everyone to be happy with their results. So once more, the additional cardio is not required. It is not officially part of the challenge, but it is strongly recommended. Also, incredibly strongly recommended is that you are taking a good 20 or 30 minutes to stretch every single day. It's so important to stretch every day because stretching every day is going to help to alleviate any muscle soreness that you might be experiencing after the workouts. And if you're doing this challenge with me and daily exercise is something new to you, then it's very likely that you are experiencing muscle soreness, and that's normal. So taking the time to stretch after the workouts is going to help alleviate some of that muscle soreness, and that is going to increase the likelihood that you are able to stick with the challenge, because this was a really tough workout. And if tomorrow you're so sore you can't even move, it's going to be next to impossible to find the motivation to get your reps done tomorrow. But if you take the time to stretch right now, then it's going to alleviate some of that muscle soreness. So tomorrow comes, you may still be sore, you may not feel 100%, but you'll be able to move and you'll be more likely to get your reps done and stick with the challenge for another day. So the second reason that stretching is so important, especially if you're doing this challenge, is because it is going to help to reduce your risk of injury moving forward. So the two most important things you can do to reduce your risk of injury is number one, performing each and every rep with the correct form. So make sure you're doing the exercises properly during the workout. And number two, taking the time to stretch every day after the workout. Taking the time to stretch every day, you are training your muscles to be generally more flexible, more pliable. You're going to increase your range of motion. Your muscles are more resilient. And so you're going to reduce the likelihood of straining something or pulling a muscle during one of the workouts. So taking the time to stretch every day and doing every single rep with perfect form does not guarantee that you won't become injured. You still might become injured, and if you do injure yourself, absolutely you should rest. If you need to skip a few days of the challenge, that is what you should do. The goal, of course, is to do all 40 days of the challenge, but please be smart, make the decision that is best for you. Sometimes it's an injury you can work through, but I would rather have you be safe and not risk making your injury worse than to prioritize sticking with the challenge over letting your body heal and recover. But the goal, of course, is to do all 40 days of the challenge, because one of the main objectives of this challenge is to establish a habit of daily exercise, and you do that with consistent effort. That is why we are working out 6 days in a row every single week, Monday through Saturday of every single week, so that by day 40, the goal is that you will have firmly established that habit of daily exercise, so that after the challenge is complete, you will continue making daily exercise a part of your routine. But if you injure yourself, then you're going to have to miss a few days while you rest and let your body recover. And that means that all that momentum that you've been working so hard to build is just going to come to a screeching halt, and it's going to make it that much more difficult to establish that habit of daily exercise. So again, there are no guarantees. You still might become injured, but you want to kind of stack the deck in your favor. So taking the time to stretch every day is going to help mitigate that risk. You are reducing your risk of injury moving forward, and that means that you are increasing the likelihood that you will be able to do all 40 days of this challenge with me. And the third reason that taking the time to stretch every day is so important is because, of course, it's going to improve your flexibility. So if you are doing these 160 reps with me every single day to build strength, and you are taking at least 2 or 3 days a week to add on 20 or 30 minutes or more of additional moderate paced cardio after the workouts to improve your stamina, why not take 20 minutes, 30 minutes every single day to stretch so that you improve your flexibility while you're at it? It just makes the challenge so much more well-rounded. And flexibility is a really important aspect of your overall fitness level that tends to be overlooked sometimes and undervalued. So please make sure that you are taking the time to stretch every day. Just make sure that you are doing so safely. So if you have time to do your stretching right now, immediately after the workout, or immediately after your cardio, if you're adding on cardio, that is always going to be the most efficient and the most effective time to get your stretching done, because your muscles are already nice and warm from the workout. But if you don't have time to stretch right now, that's fine. It doesn't matter what time of day you are getting your stretching done, just as long as you're doing it. So just remember that if you do put off your stretching until later on in the day, though, you're going to, your muscles will have gotten cold again. So you're going to need to take a few minutes to warm them back up before you begin stretching. You never want to jump into your stretching routine with cold muscles, because your muscles need to be warm in order for them to be pliable so that you can stretch them safely and effectively. But that's it, you guys. That is all I have for you today. That is officially a wrap on day 32. We have only 8 days left to go. This is amazing. Every year when I get to this point in the challenge, I just think it's so amazing. The challenge is so tough, and every year I kind of forget how much work it is. But you guys, we are on the home stretch now, okay? We have only 8 days left. That's just more than a week. So we've got this. So if you did this day 32 challenge with me today, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of it and how you did. If you are doing the challenge with me, thank you so much. I don't care how you're doing the challenge. I don't care if you are doing all 40 days of the challenge, if you did days 1 through 20, if you're doing days 21 through 40, if you're doing every other day of the challenge. I don't care if you're doing 160 reps every day or 80 reps every day or 10 reps every day. If you are doing the challenge with me, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and please let me know if you're doing the challenge, because I do like to have an idea of how many people are doing the challenge with me each year. But even if you're not doing the challenge with me, thank you for doing today's workout with me, and thank you to everyone who has been working out with me lately. And even if you're not doing the workouts with me, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking and sharing the videos. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful and supportive and engaging comments. It truly does mean the world to me. Thank you so much to all of my new subscribers. If you are not subscribed already, please subscribe. And of course, a great big thank you to those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for years. Please know that I appreciate you all so very much. And if you know anyone else who might be interested in joining the challenge, remember, it is not too late to join. It is never too late to join. So please feel free to share this video with them. Please feel free to share any or all of the playlists with them. The more people I have doing the challenge with me every year, the happier I am. And just one final reminder that if anything was unclear about the format of today's workout and how everything fits together, if you have any questions about the exercises that we were doing today, if you have any doubts about how to do these exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with equipment-free substitutions beyond what I have already provided, if you need to see beginner modifications for any of the exercises, I am always here to help. So please ask questions if you have them. That is going to do it for today. I will see you all right back here tomorrow for day 33. Bye.